Good afternoon, and welcome to the Public Safety and Government Operations Committee meeting. In attendance today, we have members of the committee, have myself, Mark Conway, Chair, representing the 4th District. We got Council Member Christopher Burnett of the 8th District, Councilman Zeke Cohen of the 1st District, Councilman Costello of the 11th District, and Councilwoman Ramos of the 14th District. From members of the Office of the President, do you have Nikki Thompson online? And Matt Stegman? And Aaron DeGraffenried? Okay, and representing the Mayor's Office, do I have Natasha Mihu on the line? I don't see Natasha. Do I have Nina Themelis on the line?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Nina. We are going to go in a slightly different order today. We're going to actually start off with the Precluded Investments Act, just to get this out of the way. So Bill 21-0066, Retirement Systems, Precluded Investment and Divestment, fossil fuel companies, for the purpose of prohibiting the new investment of certain retirement funds in fossil fuel companies, requiring the divestment of certain retirement funds in fossil fuel companies within a certain time frame, requiring certain reviews, specifying a certain procedure for the divestiture of investments, authorizing certain exemptions, defining certain terms, and providing for a special effective date. This bill was introduced on April 19, 2021, and it was sponsored by myself, Councilman Mark Conway. I'll be very brief with my comments here. I think, as we move forward as a city and as a world, global warming plays a significant part in our future, and we as a city have an opportunity here to put our money where our mouth is, to make decisions that, in concert with other cities around the country, can ultimately have an impact on climate change. It affects us every day, and will affect us especially in the coming months as it gets incredibly hot outside. But we also had Councilwoman Ramos just a short week ago had some significant flooding in her district, shocking flooding in her district that I think is also tied to a lot of the changes that we're going to see in our city over time. So I think this bill is very important towards the bigger picture, but certainly across our city as well, in the smaller picture and how it affects everyday people in our city. So with that, I want to move on to agency reports. And the committee will now hear from agency representatives. Please say your name when you step forward. First up, we've got the Law Department.
Hi, Mr. Chair. This is Hillary Ruley on behalf of the Law Department. We stand by our report in support of the bill, and I believe, as discussed before, there were some amendments, and I believe that there's been a formalization of those amendments, and we would approve those for form and legal sufficiency.
Excellent. Thank you, Hillary. Next up, we've got the Department of Human Resources.
Hi, this is Joanne Ashton. I'm sorry, I was trying to come off mute. We have no position.
Thank you, Joanne. Next up, we've got Employees Retirement System.
Good afternoon. I'm David Randall, Executive Director of the Employees Retirement System on behalf of our Board of Trustees. Our trustees, we would like to continue with our ESG investment policy that we've established years ago. We still believe the bill is feasible. However, we, with the requested amendments that at least 8 years before our full divestment would occur. We also have a hope that the City Council would prefer to make a resolution or some type of proclamation with annual reporting in lieu of a law, only because we envision in the next 10, 15 years, there may be another type of investment that you guys would not like us to have. So by making it a law, just make it very difficult for us to continue with our fiduciary responsibilities. And we take fossil fuel divestment very seriously. We take ESG investment very seriously, and we've been putting things in place for that to happen. And that's about it. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Randall. And I'm going to go right back to you for the retirement savings plan. I guess you agree with yourself.
And again, I'm executive director also of that plan. We have no position as the bill would just mandate separately managed accounts, and RSP does not have any separately managed accounts.
Thank you, David. Next up, we've got the Fire and Police Employees Retirement System. Do we have anybody on the line from the Fire and Police Employees Retirement System? Okay. Abe Schwartz. Okay. Oh, I see. Abe has stepped away from the camera. Okay, we'll come back to Abe. Next up, I've got the Labor Commissioner.
Good afternoon, sir. No report from the Office of the Labor Commissioner.
Thank you. And the Department of Finance.
Good afternoon, Mara James, Legislative Engagement Liaison for the Department of Finance. Finance stands by our previous report and defers to ERS. Thank you.
Thank you, Mara. Before we move on to questions, if there are any, I just want to address very, very quickly the concern that Mr. Randall brought up about one, extending the time, but then two, the flexibility of our retirement systems to make decisions that are in the best interest of the funds that they manage. We worked in a number of considerations into this bill to make sure that if there is that concern, we will have that ability. It simply takes a request to the mayor and to the Board of Estimates in order to do so. So there's always that ability, should we find it necessary or in the expedient interest of the city, or excuse me, the managers of that fund, to make that decision. With that, I want to open the floor if there are any additional questions from the committee.
Mr.
Seeing no
Chairman,
question. Oh, yep.
are you going to go over the amendments?
Yep, we're going to jump into amendments right now.
Okay.
Okay, seeing no questions.
Pardon me, Mr. Chair, I just got a text from Abe Ford. He's having issues with his VPN. He's not able to communicate from his desk. So I'm going to text him to, he needs to just call in, and then maybe you can look for a phone number.
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Do you have the call-in?
I'm sorry, say it again.
Does he have the call-in information?
I can provide it to him
Okay.
because I have it on my email.
I'll give him a moment. What we'll do is we'll continue to go forward with the amendments, and just make sure that before we actually make a vote, he has a chance to speak up. Thank you. So with that, we're going to jump into the amendments. So there are two amendments here, and these are the amendments that were proposed by the law department. One changes page 2, line 28. It strikes the fossil-free indexes U.S. fund and changes it to the carbon underground 200. It's a updated yearly, and so we decided to change that. And amendment number 2. So it says here, nothing in this paragraph shall require the board to take action as described in this paragraph unless the board determines in good faith that the action is consistent with the fiduciary duties and responsibilities of the board as required by law. And I'm speaking to the point that I made a little bit earlier, addressing the concern that Mr. Randall had about the fiduciary responsibility and the ability to make the correct concerns, make correct decisions. This attempts to address part of that concern. And then the second part also does exactly the same thing. Are there any questions about the amendments put forward here? Yes, Councilwoman Ramos.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I had a question about the Carbon Underground 200, and I had a similar question around the fossil free index. So if the Carbon Underground is updated every year, and we're asking all of our colleagues here, Mr. Randall and others, to divest from the companies that are on there, and let's say a new company comes on. I don't know what the criteria are, so I don't even know if this is realistic, but like if a new company comes on that list and we had been investing with them for a long time, and then they don't have enough time to divest from that company because it was just added on like on year 5 or something. Like how's that supposed to work?
So if in an instance like that, the money managers need a little bit more time, they would simply just make that case, and we would afford more time in order to do so.
And that's what amendment number 2 does, is allow them to ask for more time.
No, so amendment number 2 just says that they don't have to do anything that wouldn't be under the guise of their fiduciary responsibilities. So making sure that they're consistent with their responsibilities as money managers. The bill before the amendments already has a provision in it that says that if they need to request additional time to make a transition, they just do that in writing to the Board of Estimates and the mayor, and that would be sufficient to get the additional time.
Thank you.
Sure. Any other questions? I'm just going to scroll through if you have your hand up. I don't see any hands up. Yes, if you could take it down, please. Thank you. All right. And let's see, is Abe back? Yes, Abe. How's it going, Abe? We want to circle back to you, get your agency report if there's any updates.
No updates. We stand by our report.
Thank you so much, Abe. All right. With that, I want to move the amendment.
Are you asking for a motion or you're moving it? I think you have to ask for a motion, right?
Sure. I'll entertain a motion.
So
to
moved.
make it. Thank you.
Second.
Seconded by Burnett. Thank you. We'll move on to roll call. Conway, aye. Burnett,
Yes.
Cohen,
Yes.
Costello,
Yes.
Glover,
Yes.
Porter. Porter's absent, and Ramos.
Yes.
All right, that amendment passes 6-0. Now I'll entertain a motion to move the bill as amended.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Burnett, seconded by Ramos. Conway, aye. Burnett,
Yes.
Cohen,
Yes.
Costello,
Yes.
Glover,
Yes.
Porter's absent. Ramos.
Yes.
Awesome. And the bill passes 6-0, and we will hear it at the next council meeting.